Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari and we were discussing the essentials of valid contract. In this series, we have started discussing on competent to contract and under which we are discussing the terms one by one, and this is the second video after discussing minor, and this video is all about sound mind. And the next slide will be just touch and go slide because we have already discussed that particular slide, and after that I'm going to discuss all the other slides in detail. Why to waste time? Let's get into the first slide. We have discussed that there are parties who are unable to enter into contract like minor, a person of unsound mind, and person disqualified by law. Minor we have discussed in detail along with the principles, and in this video I am going to discuss the person of unsound mind, which may be lunatic, idiot, or drunken or intoxicated, and in my next video we are going to discuss the person disqualified by law. Now under section 11 it was mentioned that who are competent to contract, that a person who is having sound mind is competent to contract, and section 12 discusses in detail saying that a person who is capable of understanding the terms of contract and who can form a rational judgment as to its effect upon his interest is a person who is considered as sound mind. Now if there is a person who is having usual unsound mind, but however if in intervals or occasionally if he is having sound mind, in that case a contract signed by him during such sound mind is a valid contract. That's what further discussed, that a sane person, that means a healthy person, if he is coming into a contract during his unhealthy period or when he is highly fever and unable to make any judgment, or when he is drunken or when he is intoxicated, in those times the contract came into existence are not valid, and we have discussed all of them in my previous session. Now let us try understand the soundness of mind versus validity of contract. If a person is usually unsound and occasionally sound, the contract signed by him is a valid contract when he is having sound mind. On the other hand, if a person is usually having sound mind and occasionally having unsound mind, in this case also, whenever he is having sound mind and if he is signing for a contract, those contracts are valid contract. All that you need to remember from this particular slide is a contract signed by a person when he is having sound mind is a valid contract, and on the other hand, if the contract is signed by a person during his unsound mind, those contracts are not valid contract. Now the contracts signed by him during unsoundness of minds are not valid because he can neither understand the terms and condition of contract nor make any rational judgment on the benefits that he is getting from that particular contract. Now let us try understand few important mental health status versus the validity of contract. First, in the case of lunatic. Lunatic is a mentally ill person, however he will have lucid intervals where he will have sound mind. Now if he is signing any contract during his unsound mind, those contracts are not valid, whereas if he is signing any contract during his sound mind, then those contracts are valid contracts. In the case of Subramanya versus Lakshmi Narasimha, it was held that to consider a contract to be void, unsoundness of mind should be there during the time the contract was formed. That is what held in this case. The second category is an idiot. If a contract is signed by an idiot, in that case the contract is void ab initio because that is from birth to death. He is a mentally ill person from birth to death, so those contracts signed by an idiot is not a valid contract, which is what held in the case of Inder Singh versus Parmeshwar Acharyat Singh, where it was held that a person who is having insane mind from birth sold a 25,000 rupees worth property for just 7,000 rupees, and such contract was declared void. The third category is delirious person. Such delirious mind is because of the heavy fever or something. In such case, if such person is coming to an agreement or contract, it is not a valid contract because he doesn't have any capacity to make rational judgment when he is having such high fever. The fourth category is hypnotized persons. The contract made by hypnotized persons are not valid because he was induced to sleep and he is making artificial decisions which is not valid. The fifth category is mental decay may be happened because of the old age or poor health. If such person is making any contract, such contract are not valid contract because he cannot make any rational judgment. The last category is drunken and intoxication. The person who is making contract during the drunken status or intoxication status is not valid because they cannot make any rational judgment of the benefit that they are getting when they are drunk or intoxicated. That brings an end to this particular video, and we are left with one last concept when it comes to competent to contract, that is persons disqualified by law. That will be my next session. All the very best for your exams or whatsoever purpose you are watching me. Thank you so much for watching me and all the very best.